Anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. Real exciting last couple of weeks. Been in negotiations and everything was for Ronda's fight was pretty much preset before we signed with the UFC, so there wasn't much negotiation as far as that goes. Um, we were happy to get the phone call, and Holly was ecstatic to take on Ronda. And we just wanted to have our own press conference. We know we've been bombarded by phone calls, and we apologize. Holly was making a movie, so wanted to try to give everybody a chance, the local media, to get out here and talk to Holly themselves first. Next Friday is our press conference will be at the MGM Grand to officially announce the fight, and that's when the official announcement will come next Friday at the MGM Grand. We'll be over there. But first of all, I just want to. It's just been an amazing ride. It's just a ride of a lifetime, and just to be able to be on the ride is so great. To be with such great people, with like Mike, Holly. We've got Izzy on our team now, and it's just a great team with Greg. Greg's not here now, but the team that Holly has is just a tremendous team, and everyone thinks that's underestimating Holly. I'm glad they are. I mean, it's great that they're underestimating her. We're going in there with the most confidence. Like just another opponent. Holly's, we went through this when Holly fought Christy Martin. It was the biggest thing then, and Holly took care of business very easily then, and I don't see any difference in this now. I know the names are bigger, the stuff is there. It's the same thing. It's just another fight, another person, and everybody's invincible. So first of all, I'd like to call up Mr. Winklejohn to say a word before we get to getting Holly, but I want you guys to have a chance to talk to Coach Wink and Coach Martinez.
Hey guys, hey, you know what? We're here. Holly walked in my gym 16, 17 years ago. I think she was playing soccer for Manzano. How cool is that? She came in and looked and said, hey, I kind of think I want to do that. And we're here today. She, at that time, I took her running one time, and she was like this. I'm so tired. About a quarter mile in. And now today, no one in the gym can keep up with her in the mountains. I mean, she outworks everybody in the gym. She has that work ethic, and that's why we're here today, because she works so hard along the way. Lenny Fresquez has managed her career, put things on the right path. And like Lenny said earlier, Holly's always overcome, and she's persevered. And everybody thought we were crazy fighting Christy Martin. And I'm going to tell you what, Holly moved out of the way. Christy almost went through the ropes one time because she couldn't keep up with Holly's footwork. Holly almost kind of just stopped in time to see a little smile on her face because she knows she had to fight. And her career's been that way. It's all about being smart, being intelligent, and we're putting together the best team around her to continue training for that. We got Izzy Martinez, my little brother Greg Jackson. Everybody's involved, along with a whole bunch of other people, to make sure we have the proper game plan that Holly can implement. And with her will and her desire, she's going to shock the world. So thanks for coming out, everybody.
I'd also like to bring up Coach Martinez also to say a few words about.
I showed up at this gym about 6 years ago with Clay Guida, and you hear that noise that Holly's known for. That when she's hitting pads, and you look out of the corner of your eye, and you notice there's a woman over there working, if not harder, just as hard as anybody else in the gym. And she was a boxer, and she was kickboxing, and Coach Winklejohn and Greg Jackson, told me to keep my eye out for her. That the boxing might not be there for her. That she might not want to do it forever, and she's going to move to the MMA. So I was lucky enough to get the go-ahead from Coach Winklejohn to be able to be a part of Holly's training career in her life, and it's been an amazing ride. People don't understand what type of individual Holly is, but everybody that's around her and everybody that knows her knows that she's ready. She's born ready, and if the fight was next week, she'd be ready for it. So I'm just excited to be here, and we're excited to put our brains together and do whatever it takes for Holly to bring another world title to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Thank you, Izzy. So next up, I'll bring up Holly, but just that, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that what Holly's trying to accomplish has not even been tried before. So not only was it a feat in what she accomplished in the boxing world of not 18, 19 world titles and 3 different weight divisions, and all the other accomplishments that she's done. This is a big deal for her to dominate the boxing world and now come and be the only person to be able to be the hold titles in both places. Not many people are ever going to be able to say that. Your new and future bantamweight UFC champion, Holly Holm.
Well, thanks for coming out. I feel very blessed that I've had such good backing and all coverage for the fights. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without all of you, and all of your support over all these years has been, I mean, couldn't ask for anything better. So this is obviously like a big moment for me, and a lot of emotions involved with that. But to me, that just, it's a reminder to me how real it is. Anytime I get this emotional about it, that means that's how invested I am in this. Emotionally, spiritually, physically. I'm ready to put the time in. The biggest question people ask me, are you ready for this? It's like, we said this back in the day. We refer back to Cris Martin, and I'm not going to say that was my hardest fight physically. But leading up to it was huge. It was a big mental thing for me. I had 12 fights. She had about 50. Been on the undercard of Mike Tyson, been on this cover of Sports Illustrated, and odds were that she was just going to knock me out. I mean, this wasn't even going to be a question. This wasn't even going to be a challenge for her. And one of the easiest fights in my career, physically. But so we refer back to that, just the mental state going into that fight, and just the support that I've had with everybody around me. I say the biggest thing for me is I took the fight, didn't I? Back then when people would say that, do you really think you can? I took the fight, didn't I? Do you think I'm going to walk in there and say, oh, I'm just here to, you know, see if maybe I'm going to get a lucky card and get a win just by luck, or I'm going to be here just to be part of it? I was saying today, I'm not there for a participation ribbon. I'm going in there with every intent to win. And with that being said, am I going to have to train very hard? Yes. Is it going to be a hard thing to do? Yes. Is she been unbeatable? So far. Do I have to do everything right when the fight comes that night? Absolutely. Is it going to be the hardest test to date? Absolutely. So yes, all of that is true. Is it something that can't be done? No. This is very possible to be done, and I'm going in there with a win. And with that being said, the only way that I could get there is right here.
Holly, why is now the right time to take her on?
You know, this came as a surprise to me, but the reason why right now is the right time is because fighting is not this, obviously, it's not an easy job. There's a reason why there's only select people in this world that even want to do this. I mean, you have to kind of want to be in a very uncomfortable position all the time. Every day in training, I'm thinking, oh, you know, I hope I'm going to be doing my game plan right today, because you still, it's maybe not in front of this whole crowd of people, but you have your coaches watching you who have invested time into you, and you want to show them, I'm improving because of your help. Every day in practice, I'm nervous. That has never changed. But the reason why right now is the right time is because this is the challenge that's in front of me. That's why it's the right time. I never, from my first fight, sat back and said, you know what, let's map out my career. I'm going to be amateur for this long. I want to have this many fights before I turn pro. And when I turn pro, I'm going to take this fight and this fight. And then after this many fights, I'm going to have my first title fight. And then after that, you know, maybe we can get a TV fight. And then after that, maybe I'll be done with that. I'm going to go into MMA. I mean, I never would have thought I'd be here in an MMA setting doing an MMA press conference for the biggest fight ever. Who would have thought that? Not me. But the reason why we are here is because I've taken one fight at a time. I've had good people looking out for me to help me with that path because I just want to focus on the one fight at a time. I have coaches who help me with a game plan for that fight at a time, and along the way I'm learning everything from each different fight is a different style, a different plan, but I'm still going to take everything I learned from that training camp and take it with me, and so it just keeps accumulating. So right now this is the next challenge. And actually Tate, a long time ago, one of big fights I had, he's like, after this, or somebody else asked me, after this, what's next for you? And I said, just one fight at a time. And Van actually said, he goes, you're just going to ride the wave. And that's exactly how I've felt forever. I'm going to ride the wave.
Hey, Holly, could you talk about being considered like an underdog? Because she has all the hype in the club and all that, and right away you got considered the underdog, but you've been there before.
I've been here before. And at the time, that was the biggest thing in my mind. And now this is the biggest thing. But those situations and those fights have helped me prepare to be able to be here and to deal with everything I need to do now. I think one of the biggest things is I could walk in here and feel defeated before I even get in there. But that's just not anything that's ever in my thoughts or in my vocabulary. I like being the underdog, and there is this, there's nothing to lose, which I guess a lot of people do look at it that way. For me, there's a lot to lose because I want to win that badly. I have everything to lose. Even coming in as the underdog, personally, I feel like I have everything to lose. I don't really care what paper says or how other people look at it. This is definitely not something I'm walking in thinking, well, I have nothing to lose, let's just kind of, give it our best. That's not how I feel.
Can you describe why this was a surprise to you?
Well, I was set up to fight Sarah Kaufman, which is a teammate and a friend of mine, and it was a little uncomfortable. Her and I talked over the phone about it. She's the only person that I have ever trained with in the entire division. I thought, is this really the fight they have to make out of everybody that's on the roster? And they said, yes, this is it. Like, we called, and that, even after the call of, like, is this really, I'm not going to say no. I will never say no to a fight. I have never said no. So that's definitely not what I was going to do. But if they would maybe just move some fight, like, if there was somebody else available for her and that would have been great. But I'm not going to say no to the fight. And they said, no, this is the fight. And I said, okay. Same with her. It's like, we both said it's the fight game. Like, this is what we're going to have to do, so let's just do it. And we even had that, actually, she talked with Mr. Winklejohn, and I talked with him Monday. And then Tuesday night, Monday it was a go. We both 100% were taking the fight. We told the UFC it's 100% on. And then Tuesday night, really late, is when I got a call from Lenny, and they announced it that Friday. So, it went from, complete 180, So, which, you know what? Great. I don't have to fight my teammate anymore.
Who gave you the call from the UFC to let you know? They just called you up and said, hey, we're doing Rousey now?
Dana and Lorenzo had contacted Lenny,
So you got the call from Lenny then?
I got the call from Lenny.
How'd you feel in that moment?
This is pretty much how the phone call went. We talked about his golf game for a little bit, because that's normal when he's in Hawaii. So, and so we talked about the golf game for just a few seconds. It's not gonna be like, hello, hey Holly, you're fighting Ronda. So
Did he tell you about his hole in one?
He did get a hole in one, so and then he said, well, hey, are you sitting down? I said, no, I'm standing. He goes, you might want to sit down. And I said, oh, I think I'll stay standing. I'm a little worked up. And he's like, it's not going to be Sarah anymore. It's going to be Ronda. And I got the chills, and I said, awesome, let's do it. Is this what we expected? No, but I'm excited. I honestly I knew that this time would come. As long as I did well, this opportunity would come. And did I think it was going to happen now? No. But do I ever know who my next opponent's ever going to be? No. I never have a plan. So I always felt for this fight, though, that I would be a little more kind of like, a little overtaken and a little lots of anxiety. And I really just right away was excited. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, At least we can actually just get training for this, because that's all everybody's been asking me for the last year and a half anyway. So, well, actually, even since I came into MMA, that's all everybody. Are you going to fight Ronda? Are you going to fight Ronda? Yep. Guess what, guys? January 2nd, it's going to go down. So, why wait?
Holly, when you break this fight down, you can look at it, and many believe, of course, you have the advantage in the stand-up game. Maybe Ronda has the advantage on the ground. But do you feel that people are underestimating your overall mixed martial arts game?
I think it goes both ways. I see the threat that she still has on her feet, and I know that she knows I'm not just, hoping to stay on my feet the whole time. She knows I'm going to be training hard. She knows I'm one of the bigger 135ers. I think she knows I'm going to be training hard. I think that one thing that has been one of my assets along the way is conditioning. I think that that's something that's known. I always want to get in there. I have this thing that I don't. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you're tired, how are you going to use it? And so that's been one of my things. And I think a lot of times when people, even outside of interviews, if they ask what they think is kind of a, something that I have that's good, is some people will just say, she's conditioned too. And I feel like she knows I'm going to be conditioned. She knows I'm going to be working hard. She knows I'm going in, and there's a reason why she is where she's at. It's because she knows her opponents are coming with their A game. She knows they're coming with their best. So she's ready for it, and she trains very hard. And so I don't think that she's looking at me as, I'm just hoping to stay on my feet. And I know that she knows I'm not just going to, hope I get lucky if we go to the ground. I'm obviously going to be working very hard, and same goes from my side. I'm not going to feel comfortable if we're just standing up. I know she's going to be coming with punches. I know she's going to be training on that. She's trying to make a well-rounded game for herself, as I am. She's obviously shown that that's even paid off to this point. She's done well, not just with, I think if I was her, I probably would have been getting really frustrated, a year and a half ago with everybody saying, are you just going to be going for the armbar? I would have been annoyed by that. Like, I am so much more of a fighter than that. And she's shown that. She's got stoppages, body shot and 2 headshots. Just stop the fight right there. So her and I are not overlooking each other. I know that much. I know that she knows I'll be training hard.
How important is that first minute?
Just as important as the rest of the 24 minutes. Yes, she's going to be, maybe, we don't know. Maybe she's going to come straight in. Maybe she's going to change her game plan for this one. We're not sure. But one thing for me that I feel is the most important in a fight is to stay focused from round 1 to round 25, or to minute 25, to the end of the fight. If the fight ends early, great, but I'm always training for the full fight. I don't want to only feel like I'm going to stay focused and be on my toes for a minute. I want to be on my toes, and I want to be ready and prepared and focused for the whole fight. I don't want to get through that and then think, oh, okay, now let's just kind of go with the flow. It's a constant offense, defense all the time. You want to throw, but you got to watch what they're doing. It's there's a lot going on mentally that's exhausting in a fight, not just physically.
Holly, I know you were on set recently with Miesha Tate and Cris, Cyborg, and Miesha had thought she was going to get that title shot. Did you guys talk a little bit about that? And
we did.
What were the interactions like?
We did. We choreographed her and I have a fight scene together. So I think going out, her and I both knew this might be a little awkward at first. We're big change of events. It's announced Friday, and I'm meeting her Sunday morning to choreograph a fight scene. So is it going to be a little awkward? Absolutely. It was going to be this, but I know she's a professional. I'm a professional, and it was going to be fine. I wasn't worried about it. And after we did choreography the first morning after the fight, we talked about it. And she's like, have you known about this for a long time? I said, and she's like, I know it's not your fault. And I said, you know what? And I'm bummed that you're out of the fight. You've had 2 great performances you're coming off of, and you were, said to be able to have that fight, and that's no intention of mine. And, but she said, good luck with the fight, and I hope you do well. And I told her, I said, I hope she does well with whatever opportunity she's going to have next. And that was it. And then the rest of the time, we just filmed.
Holly, you talked about your endurance
But at what point does your team put together a game plan to make sure you?
Oh, we have a game plan starts now. And as far as really hyping up getting that, endurance and conditioning, I'm not even going to really get 100% into that yet. We're 4 months out. If I started that 100% right now, I'd peak way too soon. So game plan has already been happening. And actually, ironically, Monday night, before I heard about the fight Tuesday, we were just doing mitt work, and he thought, well, just for fun, let's just kind of, Ronda game plan. Let's kind of, play around with this or that. And lo and behold, the next day we got the call just by coincidence. It wasn't even something, that's already been on our mindset.
How's the movie going, and is that something that you look forward to doing down the road?
It was fun. I'm doing a fight scene, and then I just have a confrontation with her in a bar after. And so it's not, like I'm a lead role or anything like that. And it was really fun to do. I always like having a new experience, but the whole time I'm thinking, I really love my job, and I want to get back and train. So I like being able to experience new things, but my focus is still just fighting.
What's this week been like for you in terms of the media, all the requests that you're doing, having TMZ come up to you, trending on Twitter, that whole type of thing?
No offense to everybody here, but I rarely watch the news. I know that's what you all do. If I'm on the internet, I am Googling home projects and woodworking projects and YouTube videos on how to. So I don't really I think I miss a lot of that. And my friends actually make jokes all the time. They text me and say, hey, did you know that you have a big announcement today? Or, hey, did you know? And they'll tell me stuff about me. And I'm like, and they go, I just love being able to tell you about your life. And I'm like, and I feel like that's a good balance for me. And I'm going to keep doing it that way because I don't want to lose sleep at night. You can worry yourself sick to where you're not even excited about the fight anymore. You can just wear yourself out every day. Every thought, everything you do every day can be so consuming. There's still, my dad has told me along the way, Holly, there's life. There's life. Don't miss. If I would have just shut everything out and never enjoyed anything else, that means half my life I would have missed out because I started at 16, and I'm 33. So, and I like that I have friends and family that help me to have a balance. So I feel like I haven't really been, dug into too much of that. I haven't really let it affect my day at all. So I love that it's out there. It's just a reminder to me sometimes, like, wow, we've come this far and we're still not done. So it's a reminder for that. My dad's exact words. With a lot of fights, actually, I never even call my friends and family. I figure they'll see it. I'm really bad about that. And, but they know that's how I am because they know that our relationship was before they always go, you're not Holly Holm, you're just Holly, and I love that. And I did call my dad because I just wanted my, that loyal. I've had some friends that have been at my very first amateur fight on 4th Street Gym. Well, it was a little smoker. My real one was in Phoenix, but I called my dad and I was like, hey, he just got a new cordless phone for his house. He's like, can you hear me better? That old one was cracking. I said, actually I can, and that's really great because you need to be listening. I got some big news. And he's like, what's that? I said, we're set up to fight Ronda. And he goes, great, I'm just so excited. He goes, destiny, we're not done. You're not done. You have big things ahead of you.
Speaking of the home projects,
Are you and Ronda be doing a tour of the major cities to promote this fight?
I'll be in Las Vegas this coming week. I'll be there for, I think they call it Go Big, the Go Big. It's going to be the title fights over the next 5 months that are to watch out for. I think they call it their Go Big project or plan. So I'll be there Tuesday. Doing media all week, and I'll be there for John Dodson's fight Saturday night.
miss the person you were doing choreography with earlier when you were speaking?
So Miesha, Tate, and I do a fight scene for a movie called Fight Valley, and we just have one fight scene. I'm a professional fighter in the movie, and she's kind of a street fighter wanting to be pro, and so it's kind of a scuffle in the ring, and it was really fun to do. I had a good time.
What was your interaction with Cyborg like?
She was awesome.
Did you guys talk about the fight?
Yeah, we talked about the fight, and she actually stood next to me, and it's no big secret. Everybody always talks about her making weight. Can she make 135? That's like the big headline with the Cyborg and Ronda lines. But we took a picture together, which I knew she was probably like, really sweet in person compared to like the, image that everybody likes to say she has, like this tough girl. She kept telling us the whole time, I'm not a mean person. But, and I knew she would be really nice, but she was actually really funny and really personable. I had a really good time with her. We took a picture, and she looked in the picture, and she goes, "You're the same height as me. How tall are you?" I said, "I'm 5'8". She goes, "I'm 5'8". She goes, "There's hope I can do this." So, but she's she's got a good, lighthearted personality and about just everything, and I want her to do well. She's a very strong girl, a very big girl, and I know that she's trying very hard. She really wants to come down to the division, and but her and I'm telling you, the three of us actually had a really good time on set. We all went and ran the Rocky steps together. So.
Holly, what's to say about this place that not only are you fighting for a title, but John is fighting for a title, and all these other fighters from this place are doing basically what you're doing? What does it say about this place?
Well, what I say about this place is something that I've believed from day one, is that this is where it's at. This is the best place to train. We have the best coaches in the world. I'm not going to say one of the best coaches in the world. We have the best coaches in the world here, and I'm 100% confident in that. And even back to when I was just boxing, I still said the same thing. This is an MMA gym. People say, "Where did you do your boxing?" Here. This is where I did my boxing. I think one of the only times I actually probably really went off, like with an interview, is when I was asked, "Have you ever thought about getting a real boxing coach?" Don't ever ask me that. I have the best coaches in the world, and with that comes the best training, which means the people that I'm training with are getting that coaching as well, which means I have the best sparring partners in the world. So yes, and you know what? From here, I wouldn't have the opportunities to, a lot of fighters are looking for a fight, begging for a fight. I didn't have to worry about that. Fresquez Productions right here, Lenny's been by my side the whole time and giving me opportunities the whole way through. So I knew it from the beginning, and I still know it, and I'll still say it. This is the best place to be.
Speaking of
Could you
great
talk about
coaches,
your journey? You touched on it a little bit earlier. Your journey, as far as being an aerobics instructor, coming out, like from the first time, like the first story done with you, you didn't think it was going to lead to all this.
It's been an unreal journey, and it's crazy. Every fight I have, I cannot sleep. I lay in bed and I just try and take it in. Like, that just happened. I'm replaying everything in my head. Like, let's take this in. This is a moment to take in. I don't want to get to the end of it and be like, wow, that just blew by and I didn't feel any of it. I didn't experience any of it, which is also why I love this opportunity. I'm feeling it. There's nerves, absolutely. But I'm feeling something that people don't get to feel in a normal day. I'm feeling that. And sometimes I don't want to have to deal with it because it's a lot to handle, but it's so worth it after a fight when you can just sit down and be like, wow, life is crazy.
speaking of great coaches, Izzy over there, the people in the MMA community, they know what he brings to the table, but can you talk about why you specifically brought him in for this fight? Or have you been working with him before?
I have. I've worked with him, well, really my whole MMA career, when I was kind of starting. I remember the first day what we were working on. Just on our knees side by side working on whizzers. I remember that to this day, and I was barely getting into it. I'll tell you something, and I could go on all day about Izzy, or Israel Martinez, but he has so much knowledge in his brain, and he knows how to. Each fighter is different, and he realizes that. It's amazing to even go to his wrestling gym and see these kids that he works with, and numerous kids out of his school go off to major colleges with big scholarships. Thank you. I couldn't spit it out. And it's not like he's had that one that he could say made it big. It's every year he's got somebody coming out, and that's not by luck. That's not by just having this great once-in-a-lifetime athlete that walked into his gym. That's because of him guiding them in the right way. And so with him having that knowledge and knowing how to, every fight is different. You have to change the game plan. You can't teach the same exact thing and plan for each fighter because everybody's different. Everybody has their own style. Different styles make different fights, and he knows how to take what's good for you. He knows how to study film and know how to, shut down somebody else's game plan. You look at the big John Jones' last fight, I think, and this is just one example. I could go all day, but the big thing was like, he's never been up against somebody that's as strong as DC. And then later on, there's a picture of John just putting his hand on DC. DC's on the ground. Nobody even pictured that coming, and I'll tell you that was this guy's wrestling game plan. On top of the fact that they work together, that's really my second point, is that he talks with Mr. Winklejohn about things that, is this going to put him in bad position striking-wise, and vice versa? If we want to do this striking, is this going to be a bad position? So there's a unity with that, and I feel like that is also just what makes the individual coaching. Greg he's a mastermind on the ground when he teaches. I'm like, why doesn't my brain work like that? In his mind, he can just see how the body flows and how you can go into situations. And so from wrestling to the grappling to the wrestling, to the get-ups, to everything, they all work together so well. And how awesome is that for us? And lastly, his energy is just contagious, and I think everybody knows that. So that just makes somebody that knows all the knowledge even more fun to be around.
I don't know. After the fight with Rousey and Betchko, there was so much drama, and it turned into this whole soap opera thing.
Yeah.
We're going to get the complete opposite with you and Rousey, and maybe that's a breath of fresh air. Yep. You don't need to trash talk. She's probably not going to trash talk. Maybe some people think that's not going to help promote the fight, but maybe the fight sells itself. What are your thoughts on that?
For me personally, and I don't know, I think a lot of other people maybe they don't really look at it in the terms I'm putting it, but I think they feel this way without really looking too far into it. But to me, the fighter that's always been the more of someone to fear to me is that quiet, quiet champion that's just going to come in with all the they don't have to say anything, and they're just going to walk in there and just show you how it's done. One of the most calm fighters I ever got in the ring with was Ann Sophie. She laid me out. I didn't overlook her. That was not why. I knew I was up against somebody tough. And then going back into the rematch, same thing. She was very confident. One thing I loved about her too, she's very humble. After the fight, she's like, "You're just too crafty. I couldn't." She's one of those though that just says it how it is. Doesn't need to boast. But I'll tell you, she's a fighter to fear, and I think that people know that. You can only sell so many fights on trash talk, I believe, anyway. People want something else that is a breath of fresh air.
When you come into the cage with Ronda, are you going to think of yourself as an MMA #1 contender, a boxing champion, or kind of both? Do you have a championship mentality going into the fight from your boxing, or?
The way that I see myself when I get in there is I'm Holly, and I want to make my coaches proud. And that is how simple I see it.
Have you spent a lot of time around Ronda? You know each other at all?
We fought on the same card, so we, brushed by each other a couple times, at media stuff and weigh-ins and whatnot. But, and we, it was, hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sure we're gonna meet soon. And very cordial, very nice. And that was, you know, without anything really on the line. I know there's going to be a little more energy when that's the actual person I'm facing. But I don't feel like there's going to be, I mean, the Betch fight was probably the most, I felt like I was watching a soap opera with her, you know, and I think, I actually feel like Ronda handled it really well. Yeah, she stood up for herself and spoke back, but she wasn't going to be one to, I feel like she handled, because dealing with I've had some like that. Probably the most that were really, that boasted like that took off during the co-main event of our fight. She talked the most, but, yeah.
Holly, you know how you talked about home projects, kind of keep your mind balanced, keep yourself doing stuff. Are you still making furniture?
I am. My cat doesn't, well, I guess going both ways. My husband doesn't favor cats, so I've promised to move the cat box outside. Now we're getting real, see? And so I thought, cat box, if it's outside, it fills up with water. That was an issue, and the cat doesn't want to use it. So I built a dog house, cat house, so that he can go wet-free from the dog door in there. And that's what I just finished. And it's actually worked awesome. I should patent this thing.
I know you're kind of digesting everything, but has it, come to the realization in your mind, should you win this fight, hands down, you'll be dubbed the greatest fighter in New Mexico history?
And I'll still be wanting to prove myself. I will be honored for people to talk of me that way. Oh, it's just never finished. Mm-hmm. I've never gotten somewhere and felt like, oh, I've made it. Because if I actually felt that way, that would be the day I would retire. I don't ever want to feel like, okay, so this is how I will never feel, to be clear. Ronda's cleared out the division, so if I beat Ronda, that means I can just beat everybody else. Like I said, styles make a difference. So I will be just as hungry to want to learn for whatever fight after this. It's just never done, And even when I'm done fighting, which is hard for me to even think about that because I just am not there yet. At that point, I'm going to be like, wow, I did a lot, but probably could have done better in this fight, and I probably could have done this here. I don't think I'll ever look back and be like, well, I just did it. I don't have that mentality in me, and I think that actually is what's kept me improving. A lot of fighters get stuck. They have a certain habit, and they get stuck in these bad habits. There's certain fighters that we've watched, and Mr. Winklejohn will tell me, she never changes this. And sure enough, we get in there. They don't change it. I don't want to be that person that just gets so stuck in a way that I'm not still rising. I want to constantly be like a sponge and learning and getting better and better and better. Because I'll tell you what, I still get punched in practice. I still get taken down in practice. And the day that I come in and that never happens, which will be never, is the day I guess I could say that. But I will be honored for anybody to feel as, I'm the greatest. But I know that I'm always having something to learn. Every fight, when we're working on a game plan, we're going to be doing that in practice, so I'm going to be conditioned for that. It goes along with the fight. I know Ronda works very hard. She'll be conditioned. She'll be ready to go. She's been to the Olympics. She's been in title fights. She didn't get there from kind of taking it half, putting only half-hearted. I know that she's obviously had to work very hard, so I expect her to be ready for 25 minutes of crazy, even though I know she has been able to finish fights early. I know she's still training hard. She's not only training for 30 seconds of a fight. So yeah, I need to be conditioned, but I don't want to get stuck running and miss what I'm doing here. I want to really work hard, take in the new things I need to learn, but I also want to keep things that have been good for me. I don't want to change anything to where I get to the fight and it's been out of my element. And, I want to be conditioned, but with the training that we have, I'll be conditioned for this fight.
Is Sarah going to help you train for this fight? Kaufman?
The fight was announced Friday. I was gone to New Jersey, came back. We actually just had a meeting today about training. you know, my biggest thing is game plan right now, and along the way, we'll put together, you know.
She'd obviously be a great training partner in general, but for
she's
Rousey.
Very strong. She's been in the ring with not just Rousey, but a lot of the girls in this division. So I'm very blessed to have her as a training partner.
Have you and Ronda had a common opponent?
I don't think so. No.
Holly, I've heard fighters in the past that are very dominant in a certain aspect, whether it's wrestling or jiu-jitsu, for a particular camp. I think Koscheck said at one time that didn't put as much time into it because it's just so ingrained. Do you feel, obviously you can improve on anything, do you feel that your striking is at a point where you can focus less on it and more on other things, or do you keep that strength at the forefront and try to think things out?
I might put a little more time into the ground, in the clinch, in the wrestling, than in the stand-up, but I don't want to not train stand-up and get in the fight and think, because it all starts there. When you start every round, you start on your feet and you come in. So everything starts from there. Every clinch comes from your feet. Every takedown comes from an entrance. So I'm 100% going to be working on my stand-up because will there be different aspects of it, different angles, different techniques specific for this training camp? Absolutely, but I will still put time into my stand-up.
Do you think Rousey's going to, obviously she's been improving in her boxing. It's gotten good, but do you think she's going to have trouble finding someone to simulate your length, your punches, your kicks, your footwork, how you cut off the cage and move around?
I don't think Ronda's going to have a hard time trying to find people that want to help her out. I think she's going to have, every fight she probably has a million people saying, hey, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. I think she'll find someone, absolutely, and that's what I expect, and that's what I'm going. I want to know that she's training with the best, and I want to expect that. And I know that she is getting confident with her stand-up, so we need to be ready if she's going to want to stay standing and feel comfortable there. But she's also I think one of the biggest things that Ronda has that is one of her biggest assets. I'm not going to say it's just the judo, just the armbar, I'll tell you what I think is the most threatening about her as a fighter. This is what I feel is the biggest threat, is that she can take a split second of a mistake you make and turn it into a victory for her, or turn it into a good position for her. And that is why I want to be focused 100% of the fight. She's very good at, oh my goodness, I'm here, and I'm going to roll with this. Might be in a bad position here, and she knows how to take that split second and make it into something that's going to work for her, or at least get out of a bad situation. So with all the actual exact techniques aside, I feel like she adapts very well to every situation, and that's what we need to be the most careful for.
Holly, much is said about her edge, like you just spoke. What is your edge as you see it? You're humble, but you have confidence as well. What is your edge?
I feel like that is my edge. I am humble, but I am confident. When I get in there, I fully understand that nobody can fight for me. Only I can do that. Nobody else is in there. So I'll tell you what makes me feel strong is I have to believe in myself because I'm the one getting in there. That's pretty simple. And with that, I need to have the team behind me to help guide me in the right way throughout the fight. They're seeing it from a different perspective. They're on the outside. So I want to feel what I'm feeling while I'm in there. And I want to know what they're seeing from the outside that I'm missing. And I feel like that is what... I feel like I listen to my team. I feel like I listen to the advice. And even though sometimes I don't do all that they say, I'm always striving to do that. I don't even remember what fight it was. I'm like, Izzy, I don't know why, but in practice, my underhook was just not high. He said I was having lazy underhooks, and he was making fun of me because in the fight he goes, high underhook, and I'm like, like almost, urgent about it. And but that's what I love about having a good coach is because they communicate with me, and we train together here, and so we know something that a simple word he might say to somebody else when haven't been working together may not really trigger, but I really try and listen to what my coaches are saying because they're going to help lead me along the way.
having that shoot with Miesha, I don't know if you had the opportunity to ask her or if she had any tips she was willing to give you about fighting Ronda.
You know, we didn't. I feel like we talked about it for a moment because it was the big elephant in the room. I mean, we weren't going to go 4 days of being together, physically doing a fight scene, and not talk about it. So the first day we talked about it, boom, done. That was it. We didn't get into game plan. We didn't get into anything like that. And honestly, I could be fighting her anytime soon. I mean, so it was like, let's let this be what it is. Let's film this movie and let's not get too worked up, you know. And so I think it was refreshing for not only me, but I mean, because I 100% love the support, but it was kind of nice to not have to talk about the fight. Do you feel you're ready? Did this come soon? Which are all the questions everybody has, 100%. So but it was nice to actually let's just take in what we're doing here. I mean, this is something different we're doing, and that's all we talked about it.
Thank you all for coming out today.